Hello, YouTube pipe smokers, wherever you are. Let's see if I can find that. I can't tell where the camera is. Oh well. Used to be up here on the old one, so I could see where it was. This is my VAUEN pipe. It's a 8044 Faun is how I understand it's pronounced. I don't remember when I got this, but it's been a while. And still smoking the Carter Hall. The more I smoke it, the more I like it. And got a cup of tea. Recently, I was watching one of the watch channels. I used to watch them all the time. And they were talking about AliExpress having a sale on November 11th. So I watched them and they were showing the things that were on sale. And one of them I saw that I liked. I ordered. It's a San Martin. I'm not sure what the name of the particular design is. But I just really liked that dial. And this bracelet. You can see that. Very nice bracelet. I took out 2 links and put it on my wrist after taking out the 2, and it fit pretty good. So I just thought I'd share that. I had a real thing for watches about 5 years ago and made a really nice collection, but I've started giving those away because you can't wear them all. Also, back before that, collected books and magazines, and I got a stack of Collier magazines from back in the 50s, and I'm going to show you a few of the ads in those shortly. They don't have covers because the covers were watercolor illustrations done by John Pike. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with John Pike, but my uncle, my other uncle, Charles, who is the artist, went to New York State, and took watercolor lessons with him. He did it 2 years in a row, I believe. And one of those times he met, who is it? It's that movie star that was always the gangster. His name will come to me later. But he was in his 80s, very old. You'd recognize the name just like that if I could think of it. But right this minute, I can't think of it. So I tore those covers off and gave them to him. There were 4 of them. They were all winter scenes on this particular magazine. And I had one other thing to talk to you about before I started showing you some of the things in this magazine. Who is the guy that was in Yankee Doodle Dandy? He's the one I'm trying to think of. But I can't think, his name just won't pop into my head. I'll look this up because I love to listen to old-time radio shows. And one I've been listening to for a while now is Alice Faye and Phil Harris. They had a show. It was a branch off of Jack Benny's show because Phil Harris was the band leader on Jack Benny's show for years. What a funny guy. But there's a YouTube channel called The Good Old Days of Radio. And the picture of Alice Faye and Phil Harris has a pipe in his mouth. See if I can find it here. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. But if you can see Phil Harris there, he has that pipe in his mouth. I thought that was an interesting tidbit to that thing. But I was going to suggest that you listen to these shows if you enjoy good, clean humor, crazy situations, and a guy that's just hilarious. Listen to those, and listen to the Christmas shows. There are a bunch of Christmas shows. Every year they would do a special for Christmas. I don't know if you're familiar with Frank Rimley or not, but he was a band member, and they always made fun of him and his drinking on Jack Benny. And then when Phil Harris got his own show, Frank Rimley followed over to his show and became his partner in crime in everything they did. Great time in between the two, and it's just a very funny show if you like good, clean humor. I find myself laughing out loud every time I watch them, and I've watched them numerous times. Well, let me show you what I found interesting in this magazine. The ads. For Prince Albert. Christmas packaging. I had them marked off with these yellow bits of paper. Here's a full-page ad. This is my editing. I don't know how to do all that stuff like y'all do, so I'll just hold it up in front. In case you want to read it. This particular issue is December 23rd, 1950. And I don't know if y'all were familiar with Spud Nuts or not. We used to have a Spud Nut store here. And there was something else back here. Most of the ads for men were tobacco, liquor, and cars. Didn't have the choices we have today. I thought there was a car ad in the back of this one that I was going to show you. This particular issue is December 22nd, 1951. I've never heard of this particular brand, but it'll give you an idea of how they sold cigarettes back in the 50s. I've never heard of Fatima cigarettes, but if you'll notice the Christmas packaging, that was a carton of cigarettes back then, about $2. And this is what I'd get my dad every Christmas. Carton of Lucky Strikes with the Christmas packaging. It made for an easy and quick gift for children when their daddy smoked, and every daddy I know smoked. This is for Kentucky Club pipe tobacco. Not familiar with that. They probably don't make it anymore, but that was a small ad for that. For those of you who like hats, ad for a hat. Spiffy looking one. And the last thing I have is what we used to get for graduation when I was growing up, what I got for graduation, but not this particular kind. This is a fountain pen and a pencil set, because ballpoint pens were not that prevalent back in the year 1951. So, I just thought you might find some interest in Christmas advertising back in those days. Maybe this is the one that had the car ad. Yeah, this is the one. The brand new Chrysler for 1951. If I was smart like you guys, I'd be able to edit those things in so that I wouldn't have to do it manually, but I ain't that smart. $1950 Christmas was the first Christmas that my parents took me to my great-grandmother's Georgia farm, which we did every year that decade, the 1950s, until 1960. And we didn't go that year because Dad's parents were visiting that year. Why we didn't take them, I don't know, but we didn't, and sadly, That's the year my great-grandmother died. So we never got to go back. We came over in 49, December of 49. I don't remember anything about that except blowing up balloons in the back of the car as we were driving from New York, where my uncle had picked us up and drove us back here. And that following Christmas, when we went to my grandmother's, I had an earache and was screaming the whole time because it was so painful. And I think about 1 o'clock in the morning, still screaming, they said my eardrum popped, and whatever was back of that eardrum drained out, and the pain was eased because it was the pressure bulging my eardrum out that was causing the pain. But when that burst and whatever infection was back there leaked out, I stopped screaming. Finally went to sleep. Don't remember a thing after that about Christmas 1950. It was different in 1951 whenever we went back. That was the first real Christmas Clyde and I had together. I think I've already told that story about us waiting for everybody to go to sleep so we could go look under the tree in the dark with the light of his new watch, which had a glow in the dark hands and numbers. We were holding his watch up to see if we could read the names on the packages. But Christmas is coming. I usually buy something for my children and my grandchildren. They usually give me a list. But financiers are beginning to get a little more difficult to find, so it may not be as, I may not spend as much this year as I normally do. And if I don't get a list, I don't know what to get. So we'll see. We'll see. One of the fountain pens I bought during that fountain pen craze is this one. Which I've been using to write in a notebook I have. I do enjoy writing with a fountain pen. This is another. Totally black. Black. Black nib and everything else. And they all fill up in different ways. I have a stack of those all over the house too. I've started giving those away too. Me. I think the fun was in the collecting. And once you have a collection, you can't use them all at one time. So Most of them are just sitting around going to waste. Well, we're going to have our first freeze tonight. It's supposed to be going down into the high 20s. And I get really chilly. My old bones can't take it like they used to. I used to love wintertime. I'd drive with my windows down in the car. I used to love it so much, but I can't do that anymore. My internal heater ain't what it used to be. Well, if I'm going to get this up, I guess I should stop yakking. I probably pretty much bored you guys. Don't forget to go to YouTube and look up the Good Old Days of Radio podcasts and go for Alice Faye and Phil Harris show, Christmas shows. I think you'll enjoy them if you enjoy good comedy. All right, that's it for me. Take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend. God bless till the next time.